Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co., and this is your month in review for January 2024. 2024. I'm still going to take some time to get used to saying that, but we're going to go ahead in the month of review. As usual, we have a bunch of things to go over, from the stats for the month, my favorite videos that are not mine, my favorite videos that are mine, my best games that I've played, my highlights of the month, my crowdfunding picks. There's like no crowdfunding picks. I don't think I was excited about anything in January, at least not yet. There were things. Let's go ahead and get into it. We'll go into all the various subjects, and of course the various sections will be timestamped down below. But let's start off with the stats for the month. In January, I played 165 games, which is not bad, not bad by any shot. Although if I'm trying to beat December's games played, I have to average higher than that. 165 games a month will only bring me to around 1,900 games for the year, which, again, while good, is lower than last year, which would be the first year ever that I don't beat my numbers. Spoiler alert, I don't think I'm going to beat my numbers. But 165 games were played in January. Past that, there were 60 different games played, 26 of which were new to me, which is actually better numbers than I would say, meaning by better I mean worse, which to me is better. Effectively, on any given month, maybe above 50% of the games I played are new, or at least above 50% of the unique games I play are new to me, and I'm happy that's less than that, because frankly, I enjoy playing the games I love, and with 34 of those games, 34 of those 60 being older titles, 26 being new, I'm happy with those numbers. I'll take them. Past that, I had an H index of 7. I actually played a lot of games that I already know and love, and let's go through those, starting from working our way up over here. We have The Crew, Quest for Planet 9, or Mission Deep Sea, one or both of those. I usually log them under the same thing, but not always, but usually. But we have The Crew coming in at 5 plays. We have My Island at 6 plays, although I still need to continue streaming that. 6 plays in a month means it's going slower than it's supposed to. Ideally, it should be 12 plays in a month until it's done, but that has not been happening. That's the stream over here on the channel. We have Planet Unknown coming in with 7 plays. Sorry, that one's been seeing a bit more play in general. It plays well. It plays well 2 people. It plays well 6 people. It plays well online, in person. It works across the board. So 7 plays of Planet Unknown. We have Castles of Burgundy at 7 plays. Wait till you get to February's numbers, because I played February a lot of Castles of Burgundy already, and so we'll see how that goes. But Castles of Burgundy continuing to hold up, continuing to be one of the most played games in my collection, and yet it still has a very, very, very high rating, proving once again that some games do hold up to continuous, consistent, ongoing, repeated plays. I'm going to get a few dislikes for that one. Anyways, moving on from there, we have Mythic Mischief coming in with 9 plays. Those were some of those were in the app, some of those were in person. I've kind of stopped using the app a little bit already. I'm trying to phase my way a little bit out of the app. As much as I enjoy playing on the app, I'm worried I'm going to burn out on other people. So Mythic Mischief coming in at 9 plays. We have, what's it called? We had, My City Roll and Build coming in at 11 plays over there, so that's finishing up a campaign. I'm sure I'll start another one at some point, but My City Roll and Build, I guess technically 11 plays is most of a campaign. So maybe it was really 12 plays and I didn't log it. That's probably that. Or I started at the end of December. Could have gone either way. Then finally we have almost finally, we have Vampire the Masquerade Chapters coming in with 16 plays. 16 plays, and that is, just for the record, every single one of the tutorials, which is like, 15 to 20 minutes, I do log as a play, but each session or tutorial, whatever it was, plus the following 5 or 6 chapters of as I played. So I got 16 plays of Vampire the Masquerade Chapters logged on my app and whatnot. And then lastly, we have Nana, or Trio, coming in at 16 plays. That one's been seeing a lot of consistent play with the kiddos, and so every week, without fail, I get like 4 or 5 plays in with them. They're really enjoying it, and so yeah, expect to see that high up next month as well. That's going to be a lot of the 165 plays. You got a big chunk of them on those titles right there, which is typical for me. I'd say that there's usually a bunch of games that will get a lot of play in a given month, and then a bunch of games will get, 3 plays, 4 plays, 3 plays, 4 plays, or 1 play, 2 plays at times as well. Anyways, that's what we have as far as the stats of the month. So doing decently, just I'm not going to beat the 2023 numbers as far as most games played. Then we have our favorite videos of the month. In general, I do rank these sections over here. I should go through all of these from least to most over here, but again, they're all good. My favorite videos of the month from other people's channels, not my own stuff. We have 100 games left my collection, here's why. This is from Actualall, who you probably already know about, but if you don't, you probably should check him out. He has a lot of excellent content, and by a lot, I mean, he puts out like 1 or 2 videos a month that are just really highly well done content. Well done content, puts a lot of time and effort into it. If you're looking for some videos that will just hit you pretty decently every single month, he has a bunch, and he has 100 games left in my collection. Here's why. Talking about different categories of games, why they do and don't work for him, the things that replace them. He just really goes into that kind of mindset. And as somebody who goes through this a lot, your tastes do change as a gamer on a regular, consistent basis. Things change all the time. Your tastes, your preferences, the types of games, the types of things you are playing, your game group size. So I highly recommend checking that video out, although it is an hour, but honestly, you can watch it for 10 minutes and see if it's for you or not. Then we have top 5 5-star board games. This is top 10 5-star board games. This is from a new channel called After Evenfall. I'm still just exploring their content. They literally just showed up on the space and have a bunch of really well done videos so far. But After Evenfall and top 10 5-star board games. Just going through her top 10 board games, I guess, of all time. That's the way I took it, at least. Then we have The Internet Killed the Board Game Store. I don't know the channel name offhand for this one, but I'll link to it down below. It's like an 8-minute video, really well done, talking about the nature of how the internet, Amazon, web stores, all these different things, the nature of how just the way we engage in the board game store nowadays, the local friendly game store, how it's changed. And for better and for worse, just talking about how the internet killed the board game store. It's not necessarily a straight up, condemnation of anything, but it does go into the nature of the way we interact with, the things around us, the way we interact with our in-person locations, the way we interact online. It's a really well done video. Again, 8 minutes, definitely worthy of your time. I think it's like 8 minutes, but it's been a few weeks since I watched it. We have the problems with being a board game reviewer from the Dice Tower and Tom Vassell, or Tom Vassell from the Dice Tower. The problem is being a board game reviewer. Highly recommend watching that video. It's like 16 minutes long, something like that. It's a great watch and just generally going through the pros and cons of being a board game reviewer. I've talked about this stuff in the past. I'll say the same things here that he says in his video, which is I don't think anyone, well not anyone, I don't think he or I are complaining about being a board game reviewer. I love my job. I love what I do. He says so similarly in his video. At the same time, it's worth knowing it's not all sunshine and roses. There's a lot of downsides to being on the internet in general. There's a lot of downsides to being a content creator. There's a lot of downsides to loving board games and being forced to play many board games that are mediocre, and you're right, not forced, choosing to for the sake of your job and for the other facets that you love. I adore what I do, and there's so many amazing, incredible things. I am absolutely choosing to be here. Also, I play a lot of crappy games every single month when I could have been playing my favorite games ever. So there is also a trade-off. Not all sunshine and roses. Highly recommend watching that video. One of the things that's interesting as a viewer, one of the things that's very, I think, worth taking away from it is it's so easy being a content creator, it's so easy to just get all the things you're not doing right from people. Here are the things you're not doing right. Here are the things you're not doing right. And no one's asking for that. No one's asking for the fact that you don't have enough B-roll in your videos, that, you included a new person on the channel that no one likes. The Dice Tower is always fascinating because they always include new people on a regular basis, and they always will have to deal with the pushback of, oh, I don't like that new person, because your personal preferences of what you're used to has changed. And then over time, hopefully things adjust. But in the meantime, it's hard for that new person being on the receiving end of those comments, on the feedback, on the criticism. When you don't like a game, you get feedback on all the reasons you should like the game that you didn't like, or the reasons you played it wrong or got this thing wrong. It's people always want more critical content, but critical content is more harshly evaluated in general. So anyways, great video. I don't need to spend 10 minutes telling you about it because that's the whole point of the video already. And then my favorite video of the month, by far my favorite video of the month, I already talked about this in other videos, but the Rabies Awards from Chris George. If you want the Oscars of board gaming, and again, I'll have links to all these down below, but from Chris George, Room and Board, he did a phenomenal video, absolutely amazing, definitely worth a full hour of your time, I kid you not, but watch it for 6 minutes and see. Maybe if it's not for you, if the first 6 minutes don't work for you, I don't think the rest of the video is working for you either. That's going to be the Rabies Awards from Chris George from Room and Board. And with that, let's go to the next section, which is the best new games of the month. The best new games of the month over here, we have 5 working our way through it. First of all, we have Halo Tower coming in at number 5 over here. I don't know if I'll actually get around to reviewing this in the channel. I don't know. So this might be the last time you hear about it, or second last if it's in the games leaving my collection. And you're like, games leaving the collection? Isn't this the best new games of the month? Yes, it is, but with an interesting caveat around Halo Tower. I played Halo Tower once so far, so that's why there's not a review yet. And unless I play it again, there won't be a review. But Halo Tower from Uwe Rosenberg is a delightful game that I really appreciate, and by all accounts, I think I would rather just play A Feast for Odin every single time. If you've played both these games, you'll probably see some of the similarities as far as the overall arc. Again, I do want to play this one again. I want to kind of see more stuff about it, but I think it does hit a lot of the same notes that I get out of A Feast for Odin, and I think I just prefer A Feast for Odin. But again, Feast for Odin is one of my favorite games of all time, which is why this is still in my best new games of the month. But also, I'm like, this is really fun. This is really good. Lots of interesting mechanisms as far as how you optimize around your resources, trying to pay in as early as possible to get those early round benefits, and then trying to just to keep pace with the engine that's being built, and kind of, you don't really have like animals breeding in the typical way, but you do have, you know, sheep turning into milk or whatever it is, it turns into more sheep. There's a cycle there that effectively works out. Lots of fun things going on in Hallertau. Very much falls into Rosenberg's classic types of designs, but also feels very much like a Feast for Odin, which I think I just prefer. Coming in number 4, we have Picky Pixie. Picky Pixie from Elizabeth Hargrave is a small button shy game that is not an amazing game, not by any means, but it does a great job with what is effectively a small wallet-sized deduction experience. So I recommend it because it's cheap, it's portable, it works well with a variety of player counts, and it just gives you that little deductive aspect of, ooh, what's the little puzzle we're trying to solve here, and then how can we escalate on the game by giving you more rules and nuances to make it more complicated as you play through it. Picky Pixies, definitely enjoy that one. We have Salton Sea over here. Need more plays of this one, but you can expect a review on the channel. But Salton Sea from Devere Games continues to highlight that Devere Games just puts out really good games, which is why I continue to be excited every time they put out games. I still need to play Jerusalem. I still have not played that. Like, and for the most Devere games I've gotten to, and then the one that just has passed me by, it's just sitting there, it's waiting for me to actually get to, is Jerusalem, which I'll get to eventually. But in the meantime, Salton Sea. Salton Sea, really enjoy this one. Very non-intuitive as a teach, but it's really elegant as far as the many ways you can chain things together, the many ways you can optimize your engine. Again, like all games, especially Euros, don't know if it'll stick around or not. By now, one of the things I'll be talking about in other videos, but I think by now the default for the channel kind of has to be assume the game doesn't stick around. Just assume it doesn't. The games come in, I try them, I tell you how I feel with them, and then they move on. And then some of them will stick around, because some will really, I think the default just has to be assume that they're in motion. I just can't play everything, all the things I already have and all the things coming in. We'll talk about that more in other videos. For now, Salton Sea is delightful. And by the way, I think it is sticking around. I just don't know yet. We'll see. It's a lot to teach, which is a problem that I can only give to a few games. Like right now I have Sankori, which is a lot to teach. But that one I love. And Salton Sea I like, you know, a notch or two below that. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Coming in number 3, we have Deliverance. Deliverance over here, an easy game to play over here from low-end games. This is giving you a bit of a skirmish game, not really a dungeon crawler, but a skirmish game with powers and abilities galore as you tackle the various forces of evil and just basically try to just kill them, kill the stuff. Kill stuff as much as possible. Roll a few dice here and there, but ultimately kill things just by doing damage to them while powering yourself up. And then my number 1 over here is not even on the table, unfortunately, because the box is not actually here, but Living Forest. I need to play it more. You should expect a review on the channel, but I really enjoyed playing through Living Forest. I thought it was just an easy, accessible game that I really enjoyed, and I need to get the expansion at some point, but in the meantime, I really like Living Forest, highly recommend it. I think it's fantastic. It just gives you 3 different win conditions, and you're trying to work your way towards them while trying to get there faster than your opponents. There's some degree of interaction, but not necessarily a ton of it. It's a relatively easy game to teach as far as, you know, a light, simple Gateway plus Euro game, but very rewarding in the decision space, and I'm looking forward to adding the expansion as well. I'll probably review it before the expansion because I don't have the expansion yet. I don't want to delay that, but we'll get to that later. And that's going to be my best games, best new to me games of the month, which means just to the next category, which is disappointments. Generally, for all the other categories, I pick 5 things. For disappointments, I pick whatever the number is. I'm not trying to force 5 things into there. If it's 1, it's 1. If it's 5, it's 5. And usually, for whatever reason, it happens to almost always be 3, but I don't know why that is. We have 3, again, for you. Again, ranked in order of least disappointing to most disappointing. The third one over here is going to be a caveat. It's not about the game, it's about the experience, and that's going to be Island Something Shiny. I actually enjoy Island Something Shiny. I overall recommend it with caveats. But one of the caveats is going to be the fact that I thought the ending was a sucker punch to the face. And it's not that bad, but it's like I was just expecting it kind of felt like I played the game and they're like, do better. And I was like, no, I'm going to play other games that don't make me feel like that was a waste of time. Again, the actual gameplay is good. The ending just came out of left field for me. I did not appreciate it one bit. There are other endings, so if you play it, you might get different endings. But for me, I was like, hey, yeah, I played this game, and thanks for making me feel like you didn't appreciate that I played this game, which is fine. Not everything in life is happy and there for you, but the difference is when Game of Thrones does it to me, I keep watching, and when Isla does it to me, I'm like, I will play something else. So is that a reflection on me, the game, the ending? I don't really know, although I will say if you go on BGG, there are other people who feel the same, so I will say it's not just me. Doesn't mean I'm right, but it means I'm not alone. Coming in at number 2, we have Sea Dragons. Sea Dragons is one that I'm a little mixed on this one because it's not a bad game, not by any means. I have coverage of it. It's a polyomino game. It's an international game. They're bringing it to Kickstarter to like localize whatever it is. But effectively, I think Sea Dragons is a totally fine polyomino game. But between the fact that I like polyomino games and between the designers involved and the company involved, I thought it would be like much better. And it's just fine. It's nothing wrong with it at all, but it doesn't do anything for me either. It is a fine polyomino game game that didn't add to the genre for me, and that was sad because I was hoping it would do more. And then if you want a full-on disappointment, because the other two are kind of caveats. The first one's not about the game, it's about the ending. The second one's like, it's not bad, it's just I was hoping for more. And the third one is arguably bad, is Jigsaw. Jigsaw is a roll and cut game. You're going to be rolling dice, and then you're going to cut things along. The concept is interesting. The actual execution is a fiddly game that is not really fun to play. But the concept's cool, so points for the concept. I just don't like the actual game very much. Nor did any of the people I played it with at all. So there's Jigsaw. Not the worst game I've ever played, but that's not the best testimonial either. That's going to be the disappointments I have for the month of January. Which brings us to my favorite videos. This time my videos. My favorite videos on the channel. The ones I like the most. Does this mean you should go and watch them? If you want to, I guess. If you want to, I don't know. These are things I enjoyed. I enjoyed these videos. Coming in at number 5, we have a review for Valeria Card Kingdoms. Why did I like this video? Because it's a review for an older game that I like, and I just went into a lot of different facets of the game. Although I did forget to mention one of the expansions. It doesn't really do anything new, which is the point. I talked about Flame and Fang. I forgot to talk about Shadow Veil, I think it's called, if I recall correctly. Either way, a review for Valeria Card Kingdoms, a game that I really enjoy, an older title that's sticking around for quite some time and will be sticking around for the indefinite future. Coming in at number 4, we have the top 100, the best 10, top 10 through 1. Why is this lower down the list? Because I already talked about my top 100 last one, but the 10 through 1 over here, if you want to check that out, I do enjoy going through those games. All of those are absolute bangers of a game. Highly recommend checking them out. That's going to be my top 100 games of all time, 10 through 1. Coming in number 3, we have the Mythic Games controversy, which I hate putting in here as any sort of like, hey, this is my favorite videos of the month, but the practical reality is I do enjoy topical stuff in general. Although, when did I do that one? That was February. Okay, so I'm thinking, I did a whole video about dollar pledges, whatever it is, dollar newsletter things, but that's a February video. Going back to January over here, January, the Mythic Game stuff. I like topical opinion stuff more. I get more out of those, so generally it's going to be in my favorite videos of the month, but ultimately this is not something I'm happy to have talked about, but talking about the Mythic Games whole drama and the fact that, Command swooped in, and people got pissed off at Command for whatever reason, I have no idea. So you know what? Actually, I take it back. I'm happy to have this one of my favorite videos of the month, because I forgot how upset I was that people were upset at Command for something that Command is not doing anything. Anyways, go ahead and watch that video. I highly recommend watching it if you want more information on the whole Mythic Games drama, as well as my stance on the whole Command games taking over and all that. That's going to be my number 3 video of the month. Coming at number 2, we have my interview with Jamie Stegmaier on Wormspan. I enjoy doing interviews. I don't do them that much because, frankly, they don't get the views, and they tend to be more time and coordination for much less effort, which is usually not a recipe for, a good YouTube channel pattern. But in the case of Wormspan, I reached out as soon as I got the announcement. I thought that would be both something I was selfishly interested in talking about, would be good content for the channel because Wormspan's popular enough, and so I went ahead and did that interview, and I had a fun time talking to Jamie about the game and the things coming and the thought process behind different decisions. So I enjoyed that video. If you want to see a bit of a behind the scenes of Wormspan, that might be a video for you. And then my favorite video of the month is going to be my end of year purge. I do enjoy my purges. I always feel a little guilty because I feel I'm like, here are all these fun games that I like, and here's me getting rid of them, and I always feel a bit like that. But my goal is to explain as much as possible about the facets of what goes into, well, everything. Why I kept this game, why I didn't keep this game, and why that game from 6 months ago is leaving, and why this game that's been in my collection for 4 years ago is leaving. Games have to leave. They have to. So many games come in, you have to have games leaving. But I try to do a good job explaining just my thought process around those. And then past that, there are always some things that show up every single year. There's always a few games that manage to break their way into it and just sit on my shelf for anywhere from 6 months to 7 years, or possibly more times. There are games. There are games that stick around because there are many, many amazing games out there. Those are my 5 favorite videos of the month from my channel. Which moves to the next category, which is my top crowdfunding games of the month for January, and I only have one. I have one. I have Earthborn Rangers. I'm excited for Earthborn Rangers. Everything else, I don't care enough about. I debated putting Master of the Universe because they have those 2 figures I don't have, but I didn't count enough for me. But genuinely, January did not have. I had a lot of things I wanted, but not a lot of things that I was passionate or excited about. Earthborn Rangers might be the only one. Again, I'm backing less in general, but part of it is also just about finding the things that appeal to you. I think February has a bunch of crowdfunding campaigns I'll be excited about, but January didn't have a lot for me. There are other. It's tricky trying to evaluate this category because to me the category is about my favorite crowdfunding games. It's not about well-run games that were liked, because I thought of Explorers of Navoria. The people like that one a lot. There's a good-looking campaign. It's by a company I like. A lot of people are excited about it, but for me, I wasn't personally excited about it, so I'm not going to include it. So we have one game, Earthborn Rangers. That's all. I'm trying to save money. I'm still buying things, just backing a little less stuff. Anyways, that's going to be my crowdfunding highlights of the month, which is not really a lot. Which brings us to the highlights of the month. This is specifically older games. It's almost always older games. What games are still standing strong to me as I get them to the table? Coming at number 5, we have 4 Shuffle. I think 4 Shuffle is still a lot of fun. It's one of those games that I got it in, then I played it a ton as I got it in, then it kind of sat there for a month getting the occasional play. Hasn't been that long, but it did go down a bit after my initial wave. But I've continued to play it, continued to enjoy it. I think 4 Shuffle is a great game. Coming at number 4, we have So Clover, which you'll continue to hear about because I like So Clover a lot. I don't know what it is about So Clover, but it is continuously rising in the ranks for me as a party game that I'm just enjoying a lot. So Clover, I recommend it. It's a good party game. If you like games like Just One, like Decrypto, like Codenames, So Clover will fit in perfectly. Coming at number 3, we have Agamonia. Agamonia is one that I'm going through the playthrough right now. I'm going through a full campaign session of it at the moment. I'll have review coverage for you soon. We already filmed the first 3 tutorials, which are basically just the first 3 gameplays, and we'll be diving into gameplay 4 very shortly on my schedule. I don't know, you'll see it on your end, but once I get enough plays in, I'll do a review, but I don't have, right now, it's still a moving target. Whenever it comes to campaign games, I like to get to a point where it doesn't feel like a moving target before I review it, but I will say is I enjoy Agamonia, and I'm looking forward to playing more of Agamonia. Coming at number 2, we have Unsettled. Unsettled from Orange Nebula. Got a chance to play it. It's been like a few months, and I still love Unsettled. I'm still excited to play Unsettled. I'm still excited to play more of the planets I have, and I have all the new stuff. I want to incorporate all the new stuff, slowly but surely, because I'm sure they'll launch Season 3 soon, and I'll be like, I don't know. I'll back it. I will get it. You want to see the crowdfunding campaigns I'm excited about? Unsettled Season 3, I am here for it. But also, I need to play it also. We'll get to that eventually. And then my number 1 game of the month, as far as highlights of the month, is going to be Everdell Farshore. I don't know what it is about Everdell, but it is continuing to deliver for me. It's a phenomenal game, and I think Everdell is better than Everdell Farshore, but Farshore is just continuing to... I like it. It's easy to table. I have this giant box full of Everdell, and I have Everdell Farshore in this simple, easy-to-play box, and I am, sure enough, playing it, because it's easy to play. And also, every time I play it, like the last time I played Everdell Farshore, I sat down, went through the games myself, and just picked another 10, 15 games to get rid of from the games I already actively like. Whenever I play the games I love, I am incentivized and encouraged to get rid of the games that I think I love, but don't actually get the table time that they, well, should. So, a game for every home, and some games will be in this home, some games will not. And that is your month in review for the month of January. Until next time, I am Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. Thank you so much for being here, and as always, I hope you have a good one.